This is Bloomberg UTV.
This is Talkback. I'm Hindol Sengupta, delighted to welcome once again an old favorite of the show really, Lord Meghnad Desai. Meghnad Desai, welcome once again on Talkback.
Thank you very much.
Let me then begin by asking you, if you were to give one advice to Pranab Mukherjee today, what would it be to ensure that the budget when it comes in 2010 will be a definitive forward-looking policy document for the next 10 years?
I would actually tell him not to write a definitive forward-looking document 10 years ahead, except in one sense, which I will come to later on.
Right.
Right now, the macroeconomic situation, it hasn't really gelled yet.
Right.
I think India did better than almost any other country in getting a relance, reflation. So the growth recession was very short. And India is back into good growth numbers. But because the rest of the global economy is still somewhat weak,
Yes.
India cannot have an exit yet. So this is not the time to do anything boldly about withdrawing the fiscal stimulus, nor for increasing the fiscal stimulus. Many business people have argued that no, we need more. I don't think we need more, but we don't need less. And I think it's a budget for treading water.
Yes.
But there is an important issue, and which is that Pranab Mukherjee has to state in absolutely definite terms what his time path of getting the deficit down to zero is.
Right.
I think time has now passed for 5% sustainable deficit and all that nonsense.
Right.
And people have had these promises and they have not been fulfilled.
Correct.
Chidambaram came near to fulfilling, but the crisis in the last year, let him off. No, I think there are several issues. India is now on the verge of a huge growth upsurge.
That's right.
Mainly thanks to private investors, private investment. Now, the government debt overhangs the public very much. The rate at which the corporates borrow turns out to be very high because government is a big borrower in the market.
Sure.
And Indian interest rates are absurd in terms of the global forces.
When you say Indian interest is absurd, would you...
Very high.
Would you see them softening at all? Because people are already talking about hardening of rates.
No, I mean, I'm not talking about short-run variations in rates.
Yes.
What I'm saying is in the medium run, Indian interest rates are just too high.
Right.
And certainly for investors.
Yes.
And so what we need is for India to give a signal to the world that there will be a time path of the deficit, which will go down to zero. And then there are rumors about a big divestment plan. Now, if he could be very upfront with a time path of divestment,
That's right.
then the stock of debt can be reduced as well as the flow of addition to debt while I'm in the deficit. So there are two things to be done. First of all, give up the temptation of having deficits, budget deficits, and really give a commitment to reducing the government debt by divesting some of the more profitable parts of the profitable corporation.
Right.
And I think that will immensely cheer up everybody and be very efficient for India.
You said a very interesting thing. I want to come to that. You said essentially the time for stimulus is not yet over.
No, time for stimulus is not yet. I mean, you can neither reduce nor increase it. You have to tread water.
To maintain it.
Yeah, you just tread water and don't do anything which will give the signal either way. Because from a very short-run perspective, all the numbers are not yet with us.
That's right.
And because India goes rather early in the budgeting cycle, we would only have a sight of what the what Obama will send to Congress by then.
That's right.
The British budget will not be there till March. And when you look at all those circumstances, global economy, especially in developed countries, has not recovered sufficiently enough yet for India to take any precise decision either way. Although India is not that dependent upon exports, there is still a component, especially in the services sector, which is export oriented. And I think it would be best to be cautious, treading water, a sort of neutral budget from that point of view. I think there's absolutely no reason why India should have a deficit on its budget, why it should not have a surplus, and why it should not promise boldly to say we shall get the debt GDP ratio down to X%, where X is definitely below 50%, but perhaps below 40%.